One game point averted by B-Fire. Second potential one starting right now. White against black. No mark. Means no play. Through the first cup, a low grab of Belgium. Working it patiently into the open spaces through the Italian zone. Going backwards, not even waiting for the mark. Now approaching the last part, right in front of the end zone, is Gentle Old. High disc! I can't believe they've decided for such a lazy pass to finish off the point. Instead, they will find themselves with a deep shot going to their own end zone. And luckily for them, this huck, despite great layout effort, lands on the ground once more. White over the first cup towards near sideline. Continuation is there, but this disc is high. Luckily for them, the defense doesn't get there on time. They move quickly. Can the Italians still recover? And there it is, the final score by Gentle Old, or should I say Gold. They are, after all, winners of this up and down matchup against B-Fire Italy. The final scoreline is 12-8, and they, despite the great effort by the Italians who have come back in this game, it is the Belgians who come out victorious. My name is Rachel Toshnurova. We have way more action coming your way from the European Masters Ultimate Club Championship. Stay tuned, find your favorites, cross your fingers for them, cheer them on, and join us for the upcoming streams. I will leave you with some highlights now.
Hello, hello, and welcome. You join us here at the European Masters Ultimate Club Championship for PUC of France versus AUC of the Netherlands here in the mixed division. We are still in the group stages here on this early Friday morning, 11:50 Austria time, as we see the pool go up and slightly out of bounds. Believe we see... Oh, hold on a second. My apologies, it is Izno versus Korene. Had the wrong notes loaded up. We see Izno in red doing a nice little bit of flow. Finding the shot to the end zone for the goal. I believe to make it 1-0 to Izno. This will be in the open division where there are 12 teams, 4 initial pools of 3. I'll be doing my best to keep you live and updated on the score as we go. It's indeed 1-0 to Izno, with Kevin U assisting to Benoit Sapens. So a deep ball from Izno, Korene working it up the field. A little bit trapped on the sideline. Upline cut, aiming to get free. Wanting the continuation throw, not quite there. Again, another upline cut. And another upline. Korene perfectly happy here to just work it up, but there is a pick call that has occurred. Korene of Slovakia versus Izno of France here in the open division. Again, Izno in the red, Korene in the white. We'll see here whether Korene will keep working it up the line or whether they want to get a break throw to get themselves away, as we see a big shot come out. Again, up the line. I don't think the receiver was quite aware of that, sadly. But certainly a nice initial look. We'll see here as Izno start with a break. Take quite a wide shot that has to be chased down by number 53, who I sadly don't have on my cards. Oh, and a little bit of a miscommunication there, I think, from Dorian Kopf with the throw. As we look over into the other field and see a spicy little assist come out. The video camera decides to focus on, and I think rightly so, as play gets back in action here. Korene. Again, a little bit trapped on the sideline. Having to take backwards passes without break yards. The hammer goes up. It will be defended. Taken down by number 53 of Izno. And Izno comparatively with quite easy throws between the break and open side. Oh, and a drop there, sadly, I believe, from Frederic Bedard. Just went to his hands. Unfortunate. Little hammer break there from Korene. A chance to work it up the field. Disc goes big from Joseph Horvath and sadly hits the pole out of bounds, although I don't think there was any saving that one. Again, a bit of a straight line offense from Korene. They're getting it in one place and seemingly just wanting to progress the disc in that line, or simply only able to progress the disc in that line, whereas Izno is using a lot more of the horizontal space so far in their offenses. On the other hand, it's been a long point so far. Korene did start on offense. We'll see who can end up converting. Izno using that give-go. The thrower, as soon as they throw, you can see them on the move, trying to generate space. Juan Amado for Izno, just taking the swing. And again, you can see as soon as they throw, they're going up the line, trying to get yards. On the other hand, getting to a high stall count. Big shot taken to the end zone, rolling flick. It'll be right at the back, but taken down by Izno to make the score 2-0. To bring you a little bit up to date, they are with Silence 3.3 of Czechia, who already have a 15-7 win over Korene. And so Korene need this win in order to see themselves in contention. They will be going into crossovers after this, so there will be a bit of redemption in the 5-12. But to get themselves the best crossover possible, they need to win. Izno, on the other hand, will be wanting to win themselves, looking to top the group. To clarify, that was a score by Frédéric Bedard to Etienne Micon. Ball went out of bounds, is brought back in by Korene. Early shot, we see a little bit more width here from Korene, which is nice. Shot goes, oh! And floats just a little bit too long for the receiver's arms. As much as we love the outside throws, you do wonder whether a right side up one may have had the hover in the air, as we see a zone here from Korene. The Izno were fairly comfortably getting free of the match defense, and so you can see a little bit of a sag on the handlers, bit of a 3-3-1 it looks like. Izno finding a couple of gaps but not gaining a huge amount of yards. See some gesturing from the handlers for where they want the players to be. Disc goes up big to the end zone, will be contested but will be brought down. So as they broke through the zone, Izno knew they wanted to keep breaking through. It's a very front loaded zone, it's making that front space very difficult. But it does mean that once you get past, there is more space to just flow and get, well, I say get the easier score. It was still contested. It wasn't necessarily the easiest catch. Eric Becker-Chajou with the shot. Jean-Baptiste Menendez with the catch. Making it 3-0 to Izno in the red. 3 to Izno in the red from France. 0 to Korene from Slovakia in the white. pool go up. Some of the other scores on the doors. Magic Toast are 5-0 up against AUT Bumblebee. Handle with Care are 3-0 up against Mastix. We also have Fire of London playing against Old CS, but no scores in for that one just yet. Again, we see Korene on the sideline. The hammer, one of their favoured breaks, is faked. They will settle for a backwards pass and shot up the field. It is covered with good boxing from Izno. A little bit of a sandwich D, but good peel off there to cover the potential option. You can see the signalling. Izno want to take a big shot as they just about keep it in with feet on the sideline. Nice scrambled pickup from Guillaume Plas. Shot goes up. It won't be in the end zone. Will be defended, but not quite enough as the easy assist goes in there from Dorian Kopf. Making it 4-0 to Izno. Korene are under these, but they have yet to really get the better of Izno on any of those more 50-50 matchups. Izno aware of this and so quite happy for the big plays. You do have to give, I think, props there to the hockey assist up the field. I say 50-50. I think it was enough that the Izno receiver was slightly favoured there. That was Dorian Kopf to Emmanuel Guilbeault, making it 4-0 to Izno of France in the red against Korene of Slovakia, who are on nil. Let's see if they can get themselves a point here. There's not much indication that there's any wind on the field. No real rippling in the gazebos, which should leave itself some big plays as we see the pull come right down in the corner of the end zone. That's a lovely pull from Izno. Korene again feeling slightly trapped on this sideline, I will say. Able to swing it around a bit, but there is an Izno zone going on here. I was curious as to why Juan Armando, the number 12, wasn't more closely marking the handlers. We see a scuba go up and the flick go through. Getting past the initial stage of the Izno zone. Another scuba going up and a shot to the end zone unmarked. Very lovely play there by Korene. I believe that was Peter Nocel of Korene with the assist. Very good answer. Interesting as to why Izno came out of the zone there. Maybe 4-0 up. Give it some practice. Maybe they sensed a bit of weakness. And we'll see if it comes out again. I was saying that I was wondering why one of their players was slagging off the handler. They were caught right on the corner. I sort of think that's a time when you might even break the zone formation, potentially to properly mark out the handler if you think the swing is covered, of course, as well, of course. Because it seemed like they were just getting an unpressured reset, which was something that Korene haven't actually really had so far. They've had to work for those resets. As it was, some nicely placed overheads, and Peter Nocel to Marcel Kucharik for Korene's first goal for the Slovaks to make it 4-1 to Izno. 4 to Izno in the red, 1 to Korene in the white. Big shot goes up there from Kevin Uhl, but he maybe miscommunication. I am not sure with communication where that goes to, but some lovely form on it anyway. It's maybe unfair. We don't know at what point the communication stopped from here. And a big shot goes up from Korene in return. It will sit. Oh, and you do wonder, was that a layout bit away from being successful? Izno with some nice flow to get themselves a good 20 meters up, and then a unmarked shot to the end zone. Korene not able to get back on defense quickly after the long shot, but really nice use of flow. Two defenders went to cover that long shot, and from Izno, they then turned into the offensive players, and there wasn't anyone really there to cover them. So those initial early yards, able to get past the brick mark level with momentum, and then I think those two being unmarked drew people in, leaving Mathieu Lepomele for the goal, and Eric Becker-Chanjou with the assist, and Eric becomes our first player with two stats, with 2 assists in this game. It is 5 to Izno in the red, 1 to Korene in the white. See Korene bringing it in to the brick mark. Again, we see a little bit of sag-off play from the handlers, and it pays off for Izno. An uncontested swing, although over quite a distance. Sails out of bounds as Izno take a shot just shy of the end zone for a potentially offhand backhand. There is an out call from Korene. And it looks as if it's an accepted call from Izno. It will be out. Korene will get another shot at it. We'll see whether we see this leg of play. I think Korene may be a little bit lucky there. Again, we're really seeing this clogging of the space. Not quite. We saw number 52, Guillaume Place there, sag off into the middle of the field, trying to stop the main flow. Obviously then leaving their player to leave the handler on. Call is settled. Korene with the disc again. And here again we see Izno putting pressure on every throw. Very good joint pressure there. One player jumping off to make that is tight, another with a run through D, as we see the nice and simple assist from Francoise Zaubier. To the end zone, to Vincent Gibier. To make it 6-1, 6-2 Izno, 1-2 Korene. I mean, reliably informed, it is very hot here in Austria, and so how these different teams cope with it. You know, we are at Masters, so we have people who should have a lot of experience with the heat at this stage. We see a lot of people wearing caps. Everyone will be hydrating well, taking lots of drinks of water. One thing you may be able to hear if you're slightly newer to watching this level is occasionally you'll hear someone yelling 15 seconds. The time between points is very well regulated at this level. And so they don't have a lot of time to think about strategy. They will have had to have talked to that prior to the game if they want to do anything complicated. We see the pull, seeing Korene right into the back of their own end zone. They're able to get out and up the line with a big hammer play. We've seen a few of those. We know they like them. Again, Izno potentially leaving the big swing on. In fact, we see it taken there. Oh, your heart breaks whenever someone's feet go out from under them. I think that was Josef Horvath for Korene, whose feet just slipped. Couldn't take down the hammer. Instead we see Juan Amado looking into the end zone here. Just shy. Izno sitting 3 players right at the back of the end zone, trying to make it less clogged. Quite a common strategy, sort of trying to draw the defenders out, make it a 5-on-5 or a 4-on-4. Occasionally that player though breaking through, as we saw there, meaning the defenders have to stay switched on. Oh, and a miscommunication there. They thought they'd got that Izno flow getting themselves through, and it appears like they weren't quite on the same page as to the direction of the flow. So we're saying this is the Masters team, the Izno non-Masters team, as we see a timeout here. We'll be going to EUCF. They took, in fact, the very final spot out of the 16 to EUCF under the new ranking season, narrowly beating out Heidi's. We'll see a lot of the same players on this team playing there as well, I am sure. I'm going to take a small break now there so that we can actually run some ads. We will be back shortly. Hello and welcome back, and just as a reminder, we have a 70-minute game here, 2 timeouts per team per half, and there are a half-time time cap at 35 and a points cap of 15, so half-time points cap of 8. Given we are currently at 6-1, we see a hammer go up from Korene. We are at 6-1 to Izno. It's very possible we might reach half before too long. It's always difficult to take a timeout on your own end zone line because it does allow the defense to set up properly exactly where they want to. As we see the big hammer go through, no slipping on this one. Good catch there from Marek Hot, just standing in open space. Shot goes up big. Will it stay in bounds? Oh, potentially might have done, but Izno underneath it. Taking no chances. Just getting up there and making sure it can't be stopped. This is always something to think about on these long shots, which is, what is the hang time your disc is going to take in the air? Someone may be free, but the more hang time your disc has, the more chance you give defenders to get underneath it. But the less hang time, the more lasery, and likely the more imprecise and the harder catch you give your receiver as well. Horizontal stack for Izno, paying off well for them as they take a big shot deep. Layout, goal! Oh, you have to say the receiver saved that one there to make it 7-1 to Izno against Korene. It's a simple horizontal stack start. You know, it's coming in on the sideline. We see the shot go big, looking like it might be beyond them, but no. What a save. Getting underneath it. Korene did have a little bit of their own opportunity to get a big layout bid earlier. Love that shot. It is now 7-1 to Izno. Izno knocking on the door of half time. Korene with just the 1 point so far came against an Izno zone, which we've seen a little bit of since. And it looks like we'll see a little bit of... Nope, apologies. Just a bit saggy on the defense. You sort of see number 44 there demonstrating what I mean. It was matching with number 44 demonstrating what I mean. Ooh, nice little push pass reset, some disc space called. Get it off the line. Just working it narrowly up the line here. Big hammer comes in, as we see a hammer in the other game as well. Thank you, Vio, for showing us that, but it's a little bit of a shame because that was a lovely score from Korene to make it. I apologise. Just double confirming the score with the online facilities. I believe that makes it 7-2, but I will just confirm for you. You hear the 15-second call come in. I think some nice movement here from Izno. Knocking on the door, Eric Beticho with the lovely scuba to take half, I believe, and make it 8-2. And there we hear the halftime call from the sideline as well, confirming Izno in the red from France, managing to make it to 8. Let's take a short break now to rest my voice and get some water, and I will be with you for the second half. Lovely little comeback there from Korene at the end, getting a point or two, showing they've still got a bit of fight in them, and we will leave you with some scenes of the other field as well. welcome back. You join us here for the second half of Izno of France in the red against Korene of Slovakia in the white. The score is 8-2. Some quite spread of stats, in fact, in the first half. Out of their 21 rostered players, majority have a stat at this point. I believe 14 stats in total. 14 players have stats in total for Izno. Jean-Baptiste Menendez and Eric Becker-Chanjou, the only two players with 2 stats. Korene, of course, with 2 goals, naturally more condensed in their stat work, but Marcel Kuscherik with an assist and a goal, so also on 2 stats. Much smaller roster for Korene as well, it is worth saying. $15 players in total listed on the site for this game. Ball goes up. We've had a couple of nice balls, but a few also going out of bounds, I think, making the big play to try to make the long shots. Ooh, getting up big there. We see Frederick Bredard in the middle of the field with some nice scores. And fairly simple offense to make it 9 to Izno in the red, 2 to Korene in the white. Pull goes up big. And only just out of bounds. I will say it's a little bit of a risky move. They really backed their reading of the disc there. There was no one there to take it if it had narrowly stayed in bounds and just beyond the reach, potentially with a slight block there. And Izno with a quick response right at the back. Sails slightly too long. They really like that flow. They like to put people on their back foot, but a little bit too much urgency or to try to get the disc in. And in fact, they've gone a couple of times in that back corner now. Again, we see some slagging off of the other handlers here. Some sagging off, sorry. In order to stop the upfield space. from Izno. Number 95 here from Izno. You could sort of see Etienne Micon, that was, ready to go into the lane, making the shot difficult. Izno now on the corner. Nice little 1-2s there. Easy little shot in the end, making it 10-2 to Izno. Few turnovers at that point, so you wonder if Izno will be discussing a little bit. They will have their game against Silence 3.3 after this, who also beat Korene. Well, we'll see what happens in this game, but they beat Korene 15-7. It's currently 10-2 to Izno. Looks like there's a little bit of a timeout as well, just to discuss these final options and how to see out the latter stage of the game. Again, we hear the whistle of the sideline to let them know the timeout is over and there's 30 seconds left. And I just want to give a little bit of a shout out to all the volunteers at such tournaments. You really notice the difference where there's one or two people on the sideline to help with the scorekeeping, the stat keeping, of course, which is very nice for us here. Lets us know that Eric Becker-Chanjou and Dorian Kopp were the two exchanging discs at the end there. Again, we're seeing a bit of a zone, leaving the far swing handler free, but we've seen Korene overthrow that a few times, but instead choosing a shot through the middle, which is opening it up nicely for them. Hammer fate. Always love to see it. Hammer to the end zone. Over the Izno players, but enough pressure to cause the fumble. I think Alexei Kaliada with the hammer there. Couldn't quite see the name of the player who fumbled it. I'm sure they're okay with me not giving them a shout out on this occasion. See a potential pressure D, but Izno going long again. There is a little bit of hover there, but it will be run down. Chance for a 1-on-1 in the end zone. Taken simply to make the score 11. That's 11-1-1 to Izno in the red. This is 2 to Korene in the white, but you feel they could have been on 3 there. That was Emmanuel Guilbeault, who chased down the long huck and did the difficult work. Eric Lucas de Coville with the goal. Interesting choice from the Korene defender there. You've kind of got two choices in the one-on-one. Do you stay on the force, or do you go and mark the single player when you're very isolated? I think conventional wisdom is you go and mark the other player, but I will say I've sometimes seen success being on the mark, particularly if you know that's a skill set of yours. And especially if you know there's going to be a third player of the other team going on, you will just leave the one-on-one, whereas at least for a fourth you might have some hope. With that said, Martin Chapko towing it in, taking the shot up the line, and brought down by Korene. Lovely. We saw Izno under it, and I think that's one of the first matchups we've seen. Most of them have favoured Izno just with the way the disc has been. We see Korene come down with that one for the goal. It is Martin Chepko and Peter Jabula. I believe they're giving Korene 3 points in the white, 3 points, Izno in red on 11. We're not seeing the Slovaks give up just yet. They are keeping pushing. There's actually a remarkably consistent scoring rate of getting 1 point for every 3 or 4 of Izno's. There's been a few miscommunication errors. There has been some good defence from Izno, I will say, which has been putting pressure on the players. So here again we see a zone from Korene. Nice little scuba. Korene so far have been taking most of the upside down shots. Nice to see Izno taking 1 or 2 as well. And again, swinging with ease. It's always important in a zone to look for where the spaces are. Here it looks like the space is the wide receiver as we see them moving into space, although there's some up the field. There's obviously also always space outside the bounds of the pitch, which it looks like may have been the case for Izno, but it is a little far away, and so there will be some discussion on the field. Consensus is that it was in, but there is a block interception. Excellent heads up, causes a turnover. Korene now wanting to put it up big, quickly, unmarked in the end zone. That will be a break for Korene, making the score 11-4. I was just talking about how they'd only been scoring every 3 or 4 points. That's a back-to-back. Excellent defense. Assist from Marcel Kucherik. Score by Mikhail Mesaros. Or Mesaros. That is exactly what they needed, and I've seen bigger swings than a 7-point swing before. It is currently 11 to Izno, 4 to Korene, but Korene with the last 2 in a row. 1 hold, 1 break. We're seeing quite a bit of zone work come out from both teams, which is interesting because you do feel that Izno's match defense was working very well earlier in the game, but perhaps they're more wanting to get some reps in over the zone. They have also seen some passes come from it as well. As interestingly, we see a player left completely unmarked by Korene. They're choosing instead to try to stifle the upfield flow, but Izno able to find the gaps. Nacho Muller with the disc here for Izno. Nacho Lepomele doing a little bit of back and forth. Again, nice little bit of flow. I felt a travel call might be coming on that one. As a reminder, travel calls can come either when it feels like you're taking too many steps to slow down, conventionally agreed to be free, or you change direction on your slowdown. Of course, you don't need to slow down in a straight line if you throw within those sort of 2 or 3 steps. But you still can't change direction. Shot to the end zone, taken down. Izno ensure there will not be 2 breaks in a row for Korene. They make the score 12 to Izno from France in the red, versus 4 from Korene of Slovakia in the white. Eric Becker-Chanjou with another assist, bringing his total up to 5. To Kouavu Ngoyen, who gets his first goal. It is 12-4. As a reminder, there is a cap of 15 on this game. There is also a time cap, but we are only 50 minutes into a game with a 70-minute time cap here, so... Well, there is some time left for Korene to try to get their best. Back into it. They will need to do it soon. As a reminder, though, they will not be out, as we see some nice initial flow just to get themselves past the brick mark to start. There are 4 pools of 3 amongst the 12 teams, and the second and third place teams will have a crossover before the quarterfinals. We see a slightly risky throw, followed by a throw behind the player from Korene. Again, the zone from Korene, wanting to clog this upfield space, make Izno take a lot of sideways and backwards passes. Izno able, though, to find gaps through the middle, though unable to properly capitalise on it. Floaty disc. Pressure from Korene, a slight touch. We'll let you be the judge. Either way, the Izno player unable to bring it down, and Korene will get another shot. And another turnover backwards. It is a hot day, and we'll be feeling a little bit of the heat here. Izno, with that lovely flow, overloading the end zone until they want to do their 3 offensive players at the back. So their players were used to running through, getting in those good positions, and it meant that Korene weren't prepared to follow. They were still in their zone formation, which overloads the unders. There will be a simple shot to the back. Clement Gallo to Vincent Gibier. There. Again, making the score 13 to Izno in the red, 3 to 4 in the white. Rolling ball was always a bit fun to see. Can we not really able to get initial yards before Izno get there, but able to take some once they do? Mikhail Kolarek on the disc. And there'll be a call on the field. Wait, shouting. From a travel call. Thank you, Izno sideline, for the hand signals. And a hammer shot to the end zone. Deed once, deed twice by Izno. was talking a little bit earlier about hang time on shots to the end zone. That is a shot that had very little hang time. We see the potential shot go big, but holstered by Izno. The interesting thing about upside down throws as well is they can be hard to hit out of the air, as we saw there. And a slight miscommunication just beyond the hands of Dorian Kopf, as a timeout is called by Korene. It is currently 13 to Izno, 4 to Korene. They're looking to get a few more points on the board here as we enter the final 15 minutes of regular time. We're hearing the calls there from the sideline. The offense have to get ready before the defense do. In fact, the defense often do just stay in a club to let the offense properly set up. Izno using this to discuss tactics as much as they can, and will now be forced to take their positions on the field as well. Although they are taking as long as possible, as we see we hear a free whistle come out from the volunteer there. You sort of feel the player with a towel around his neck probably isn't going to be part of the play. We see a split stack here, I believe, from Korene. Izno again poaching in the lane. I mentioned earlier about how they had left the other player unmarked. That's a D there, I believe, from EMUCC. Was standing in the right place, but did take a step forward, potentially into the lane. And they agree that it will stay with Korene, as they take a quick pass forwards. Oh, caught by Peter Jabula. Shot to the end zone. That's a real laser of a shot there, I believe, from Tomasz Lehuta. And a bit too lasery. Again, that discussion of hang time. If it's going to go quick, it's going to be harder to catch, and that's part of the trade-off. You ensure there'll be no Izno player there to make a play on it, but your player still needs to be able to catch it. And as I say, accuracy can sometimes diminish as well. Although that one, I will say, still seemed reasonably accurate. Made it to hands, at least, even if made it to hands at a bit of an odd angle, which, again, is another factor. Again, just as a reminder, it is 13 to Izno, who take the shot long. EMUCC with the grab. Good defense there, stops the easy goal. Izno, though, just trying to flow it forwards, a little bit floaty. Able to get the goal very simply, with a simple enough shot in the end. After some good Korene pressure, stopped the first pass from going in after that big shot. Clement Gillot, I believe, with the goal. With the assist, sorry. Jean-Baptiste Menendez with the goal. Bringing Jean-Baptiste up to 3 goals in total. And Clement Gillot onto 3 assists in total as well. The score is 14 to Izno, 4-2 Korene. It is a cap of 15 here. Let's see if we can get either a break to finish for Izno or a goal here from Korene. It's always good to finish a game with a break, if you can. We see again the zone come out. They're leaving the wide handler as the more unmarked player, which Korene have overthrown a couple of times. That handler coming in then to midfield, making it an easier throw. The hammer fakes, and you've got to respect that fake because they have been taking them as they do there. Take advantage of the break to get some flow up the line, but there's more Izno defenders up the field than Korene attackers right now. Scuba dump, because why not, and another timeout. Their second of the half, that will be their last timeout. I believe they can take this game. Not a bad decision there. I believe Martin Kessig was the one to take that timeout. Just going to take this time to bring you some of the other scores on the doors, as we would like to say. Magic Toast have already finished their game with a 15-0 win against AUT Bumblebee. Handle with Care are 10-6 up against Mastix. And Old CS are 10-8 up against Fire of London. A closer game there. Old CS actually only won their first game 11-10 as well, so it appears as though Group C might be the tight group, the early stages of the Masters Open division. Most of the other scores a little bit wider. Right now though, we are watching Izno in the red against Korene in the white. Izno are up 14-4, but Korene have the disc. And are looking to make it 5 points. This is in a little bit of a high stall count, forcing the handler reset. Again, pressure from Izno, just some tight match defense. Aware that they really like those up line shots, but they get one off anyway, knocking on the door of the end zone now. Can Korene find a way in? Forced to take a reset back. Threatening the hammer. And having to take another reset back. Really good defense here from Izno. Trying to give almost no progressive passes. They get the shots though. Korene will make it 5. They are not going down. Peter Nassau to Mikhail Mesaros, or Mesaros. The timeout then, you've got to say, probably worth it. And Izno will not be able to end the game on a break. It makes it 14 to Izno in the red. 5 to Korene of Slovakia in the white. So we hope you've been enjoying this stream so far. You can buy individual streams for €4, or I believe a package for the whole event for all 3 days for €12. Although it's worth saying, I believe the Masters Women's does not start until tomorrow. And some nice early flow there from Izno, able to get themselves up the field in a good position, fake the big shot, and you've got to respect that fake given what they've taken so far. And wanting to take it again, they indeed do. Some separation got, and goal! Kevin U there, I believe, with the final goal to make it 15 to Izno, 5 to Korene. That will be a victory, and it sets up a game for top of the pool against Silence 3.3, who beat Korene earlier today 15-7. We thank you for joining us here on this stream. I've been Harry Mason, and it has been a pleasure.